Imagine this. Every month you work hard, you grind, you save, and then, boom, your paycheck disappears. Rent swallows a huge chunk of it. No matter how much you earn, it feels like you're stuck in this endless cycle. What if I told you, you could stop paying rent forever? Sounds crazy, right? But trust me, thousands of smart people are already doing this. They're living for free. Yes, free, while their property pays for itself. I get it. You might be thinking, that sounds great, but I don't have a ton of money to buy a house. Real estate is expensive, how can I even afford it? Is this even possible for someone like me? I had the same doubts. But what if I told you that with the right strategy, you could live for free, even if you have little savings? In this video, I'll break down 3 powerful real estate strategies that can help you stop paying rent and start living for free. And the best part? You don't need to be rich. You just need to be smart. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear path to escaping the rent trap for good. Strategy number 1, house hacking. Live for free, while others pay your mortgage. All right, let's start with a real way to escape rent. House hacking. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have money for a house. Buying property is too expensive. I get it, but what if I told you that you don't need a fortune to get started? Even if you have little or no savings, you can make this work. Let me break it down. What is house hacking? House hacking is living in a property while renting out part of it, so that your tenants cover your mortgage. Sounds interesting? Now let me show you how it actually works. Step 1. Find a multi-unit property. Instead of renting an apartment, buy a small duplex, triplex, or fourplex. A duplex has 2 units. A triplex has 3 units. A fourplex has 4 units. You live in one unit and rent out the others. Your tenant's rent pays your mortgage. Step 2. Use a low down payment loan, even with no savings. Now you're probably wondering, how do I afford a property when I have no money? Here's the secret. You don't need 20% down. There are special loan programs in the US that allow you to buy a home with as little as 3.5% down, or even 0% down. FHA loans, only 3.5% down. VA loans, for military veterans, 0% down. USDA loans, for rural areas, 0% down. So, let's say the property costs $300,000. With an FHA loan, you only need $2,500 to buy it. And guess what? You can even get down payment assistance or borrow from family. No huge savings needed. No crazy investment skills. Just a smart move. Step 3. Rent out the other units. Live for free. Let's say you buy a triplex for $300,000. Your monthly mortgage, with taxes and insurance, is around $2,000. You live in one unit and rent out the other 2 for $200 each. That's $2,400 from your tenants. Guess what? Your tenants just paid your mortgage. You live for free, and if the rent is higher than your mortgage, you're making money every month while living for free. Step 4. Build wealth. While others pay your loan. Here's the real magic. Every month your tenants are paying off your mortgage. Over time, your property goes up in value. Fast forward a few years, you now own a home, have built equity, and can even buy another property to repeat the process. This is how people escape the rent cycle and start building real wealth. Real life example. No money, no problem. Let's say you're broke, no savings, living paycheck to paycheck. 1. You find a duplex for $250,000. 2. You use an FHA loan with 3.5% down. That's only $8,750. 3. You get down payment assistance or borrow from family. 4. You rent out one unit for $2,500. 5. Your mortgage is $1,500, but you only pay $200 from your pocket. That's cheaper than rent, and in a year or 2 you can buy another property. Why this strategy works even if you're struggling low or no money down. Your tenants cover your housing cost. You stop wasting money on rent. You start building real wealth. This is how ordinary people become property owners, even with no savings. So next time you think, I can't afford a house, remember, you can. Now, let's talk about the next strategy. If house hacking isn't for you, don't worry. I've got another strategy coming up that works even if you can't buy property. So keep watching, because the next method might be the perfect one for you. Strategy number 2. Rent repeat, control property, without owning it. All right, let's say you don't want to buy a house right now. Maybe your credit isn't great. Maybe you don't have even a small down payment. But guess what? You can still live for free. And this strategy doesn't require buying a home. It's called rent repeat, and it's a game changer. What is rent repeat? It's simple. You rent a property, but you don't pay the rent yourself. Instead, you rent out extra space to cover the cost. You get roommates. You list a spare room on Airbnb. You rent a garage or basement for storage. The goal? Your rental income pays your rent. Step 1. Find a rental with extra space. Instead of renting a small apartment for yourself, look for a house with extra bedrooms, an apartment with multiple rooms, a property with a garage, basement, or backyard space. This extra space is how you eliminate your rent. Step 2. Rent out the extra space. Once you get the rental, you find ways to make it pay for itself. Here's how. 1. Get roommates. If your rent is $2,000, get 2 roommates who pay $800 each. Boom. You now only pay $400 instead of $2,000. 2. List a room on Airbnb. If you rent out one room for $50 a night, just 10 nights a month can cover most of your rent. 3. Rent out storage space. If the house has a garage, basement, or backyard, you can rent it out to people needing storage. Websites like neighbor.com help you do this easily. Step 3. Keep repeating the process. Let's say you move into a 3-bedroom house for $2,400 per month. You rent out 2 rooms for $200 each. Your total rent? $2,400. Your roommates pay $2,400. You live for free. And here's the best part. You don't even own the property. Real-life example. Works. Even if you're broke. Let's say you're struggling. You have no savings and you can't buy a house yet. 1. Instead of renting a small studio for $1,500, you find a 3-bedroom home for $2,400. 2. You get 2 roommates who pay $1,200 each. 3. Your rent is now $0. Or 1. You rent a 2-bedroom apartment for $1,800. 2. You put 1 room on Airbnb for $80 per night. 3. Just 10 nights a month, sure $800. 4. Now you're only paying $1,000 instead of $1,800. Either way, you're cutting your housing costs to almost nothing. Why this works? Even if you have no money, no need to buy property, no down payment required, no loan needed. Anyone can do this. This is how thousands of people eliminate rent without owning a house. Next up, the most creative strategy. Yet, if house hacking or rent repeat doesn't work for you, don't worry. The next strategy is completely different but super powerful. So keep watching, because strategy number 3 might be the one that finally sets you free. Strategy number 3, live for free with an ADU, accessory dwelling unit. All right, maybe you don't want roommates inside your house. Maybe you can't afford to buy a multi-unit property yet. But what if I told you? You can live in your dream home for free by adding a small extra unit in your backyard and renting it out. This is called the ADU strategy, and it's one of the smartest ways to eliminate your housing costs while keeping your privacy. What is an ADU? An ADU, accessory dwelling unit, is a small separate living space built on the same land as a house. It can be a tiny house in the backyard, a converted garage or basement, a guest house, granny flat, or studio apartment. The goal: you live in one unit and rent out the other to cover your mortgage. Step 1. Find a property that allows ADUs. Not every home can have an ADU, but many cities in the US now allow them. Look for homes with big backyards, properties with garages or basements that can be converted, cities with ADU-friendly laws like California, Oregon, and Texas. If you already own a home, check local zoning laws to see if you can add an ADU. Step 2. Build or convert an ADU on the property. Now, here's the best part. You don't have to build a brand new house. You can convert your garage into a small apartment, turn your basement into a rental unit, place a tiny home or prefab unit in the backyard. And here's the secret. Many cities offer grants, low-interest loans, or special programs to help homeowners build ADUs. Some even let you finance it with little to no money down. Step 3. Rent out the ADU, cover your housing costs. Let's break it down with real numbers. 1. You buy a home for $400,000 with a $2,500 mortgage. 2. You add a tiny home or basement rental unit for $30,000. 3. You rent out the ADU for $1,800 per month. 4. Now your mortgage is almost covered. Result? You live in the main house, while your tenant pays your bills. And if your ADU rents for more than your mortgage, you're making money every month, while living for free. Real-life example. Works, even if you're broke. Let's say you own a home but struggle with high mortgage payments. Your monthly mortgage, $2,500, you convert your garage into a one-bedroom unit for $25,000, you rent it out for $1,800 a month. Now you only pay $700 instead of $2,500. Or, let's say you buy a home with space for a prefab tiny home. You place a pre-built ADU in your backyard for $40,000. You finance it for $300 a month. You rent it out for $2,500 a month. That's $200 extra every month, just for adding an ADU. This means you're living for free while building wealth. Why this works? Even if you have no money, ADUs are cheaper than buying a second property. You can use loans or grants to build them. You don't need a huge down payment, just a backyard or garage. Once rented, your ADU pays for your mortgage. This is how smart homeowners eliminate their mortgage and live for free. Final thoughts. Which strategy is right for you? Now, let's recap. 1. House hacking. Buy a small multi-unit property, rent out extra units, and live for free. 2. Rent repeat. Rent a property, get roommates or list space on Airbnb to cover your rent. 3. ADU strategy. Add a rental unit on your property and use it to cover your housing costs. So tell me, which strategy makes the most sense for you? Drop a comment below and let's talk about how you can stop paying rent forever.